At this point, everyone has heard that the Game Pass costs only $1 and gives you access to more than 100 games. But of course, there's a catch. The price after the first month increases to a fixed monthly fee for the base version and a more expensive one for the higher version. So this is where everyone asks which one is better, buying the games or signing up for Game Pass? This is what we're gonna answer by doing a complete financial analysis of several scenarios, one of which may be your case, with real price values, and in the end, if you don't fit any of them, we show you in general terms when it's the best time to subscribe or not to Xbox Game Pass, whether on PC or console. To find out if it's worth it or not, we need to know what exactly you get when you purchase the service. The first benefit is having access to and playing a library of more than 100 different games. But wait a second, are these games new or are they old? Are they AAA games or are they indie games? It's best to open the link to the Microsoft Store in the description to check if the game you want is present in the list. They usually leave the most popular games on the front page. If you go there and take a look, you'll notice that there are some big new games, as well as several other that are not as well known or popular. By the way, many cool games aren't even on that list. And this is very important, as our economic analysis of real numbers takes into account whether or not the game is included in the Game Pass. In addition, there are two other important details about this that we raise a little further. In addition, if you subscribe to the Ultimate version, you get access to games for both platforms, PC and console, and get included Xbox Live Gold, which is used to play online on Xbox. It's good to say that on PC, you don't need Live Gold to play online. Finally, you also get some discounts on certain games from time to time if you're gonna buy one that is not included. And speaking of them, some games are included while others are taken out of Game Pass from time to time too. All these are advantages of signing up for Game Pass, but the main thing is to know if it's better to pay, say, $60 in a game or pay $1 and then $10 a month indefinitely to enjoy what it has to offer. This reasoning also applies if you want to buy, 3, 10, how many games you want, or if the service price has changed. Now, what's the simplest case that can happen? Actually, it's signing up for the Game Pass to try some game for only $1. These are the people who hear, man, Flight Simulator 2020 just came out and it looks amazing. Opening the store afterwards only to realize that the game is costing this much. There's nothing wrong with doing this, and it's actually a cool way to be able to try these 100 games in a month. You'll just have to download and play 3 games every day to do that. Well, actually, not quite. Game Pass Ultimate gives you access to more than 100 games, but the normal subscription version seems to only give you access to a fraction of them. I couldn't find a source to confirm this, but on some games pages, a message appears saying included with Xbox Game Pass Ultimate and others saying included with Xbox Game Pass, implying that maybe not all games are included in the cheapest version of the subscription, or the Ultimate version has even more games. But then a lot of people think, I don't know if I'm gonna like this $30 game, so I join Game Pass and see if I like it. If I play for more than a month, I will only pay 30% of the game value. This is true, but the danger lies in the coming months. If you love the game and keep playing it for many months, which is not very uncommon, you can start paying 2-3 times the game value. So this is the first case where we can make a cash flow to help. Don't worry about that, it just represents how much we pay each month. For example, in month 1, we pay $1 and in month 2, $9.99. In the hypothesis that we buy the game, its value leaves our account in the first month, and from then on, we don't pay anything extra, considering the game on PC or without Live Gold on Xbox. If we sign up to the normal Game Pass, it's $9.99 that we pay every month, or the current price of the service, not missing one, otherwise we risk losing access to the game. With that, we clearly realize that if we only play the game for a month, we'll have paid $1 if we joined Game Pass, whereas it would have been $60 if we bought the game, meaning in that case, it would have been very worth it to sign up for the Game Pass. Now let's assume that we liked the game, but after 3 months, it got boring. In this case, if we sign up for the Game Pass, it costs us a total of $21. Not bad either, much better than paying $60. But let's suppose that we loved the game, wanted to fly all kinds of planes, explore all airports, all countries, we found the graphics incredible and never got tired of exploring all the countless wonders of the world. And at the end of the day, we played for 2 years without getting tired. In this case, the situation gets very interesting. While the game would have cost us $60 alone, no matter for how long we played, the simplest Game Pass subscription would have cost us an enormous $230.77. It becomes very obvious that you better not like the games if you sign up for the Game Pass. But knowing this, that if one case is worthwhile and the other is not, is there a point in the middle that is the turning point, or in which it's no longer worth signing up for and it becomes an extra cost for the player? And the answer is yes. In our case, for a $60 game, it is worth joining Game Pass if you're gonna play the game for up to 7 months. If you wanna play for 8 months or more, it'll be better to buy the game itself. To find that break-even point, the formula is very simple. You take the price of the game, say $60, and divide it by the monthly fee of the version you want to sign up for, say $9.99. Then you add 1, and the result is the number of months in which it'll be exactly the same for your pocket to have bought the game or signed up for the subscription. This number is usually decimal, so if the result is 7.6 months, you can take from it that it's worth it playing the game from Game Pass for up to 7 months, but you're better off buying the game if you want to play for 8 months or more. So remember this formula: value of the game divided by the value of the monthly cost, and then add 1. This will be important later. Or write down this minute in the video when I said this and come back here when you need to do the math. Now here's a question. Do you play only one game for months, or do you vary the games over time? I expect most will say that they play several games throughout the year, even though I have often played a single game for up to more than a year. This is the case of when we become addicted to a specific game. For example, when we get all prestiges in Call of Duty, but we keep on playing online, or when we finish GTA, get millions in GTA Online, and on top of that, all the mentions, but come back to the game when they launch a new heist. I understand that not everyone does this, often playing dozens and dozens of different games during the year, which is normal, but it requires a different approach to our financial analysis. Let's set a period of 1 year and imagine a situation. A boy who likes racing games a lot, I don't know who he could be, but he discovers that you can play Forza on PC, and since he thought the franchise was exclusive to Xbox, he's very happy and already wants to buy Forza Horizon 4 and Motorsport 7. But he also opens the pages of these games in the store and finds out that they're part of the Game Pass bundle that he can sign up to for $1 in the first month, and after that, $10 a month. Should he buy the games or sign up for the Game Pass? Let's consider that he decides to sign up for Game Pass, but the ultimate version, since he was afraid to sign up for the normal version and not have both Forzas. If he's going to play these games for a year, he's gonna pay the amount of almost $170, but he better not get hooked, because after another year of playing, these two games will have cost almost $350. Ouch. So maybe it would have been better for him to have bought both games from the start. If he had done that, it would have been just under $100, much better than the $170 on Game Pass Ultimate for a year. But what about the turning point, you ask? Well, in that case, the formula is a little different. Instead of considering the game's price, you add the prices of all the games you want to play, in this case 60 for one Forza and 40 for another. Then you divide by the Game Pass monthly fee, $15 in this case, and at the end you add 1, which is the free month since the cost of $1 is symbolic. In the end, the result is 6.7 months. So you ask yourself if you want to play these games for more than 6 months. If so, you better buy them. If not, it's more advantageous to pay the monthly fee and cancel as soon as you no longer want to play them. Finally, let's come up with an extreme scenario. This time, none of what we've done so far, which was to analyze someone who plays few games. Imagine the following scenario. A multifaceted player who plays from the simplest indie games to the hottest releases. This player is not satisfied by little and wants to enjoy the maximum number of games in the shortest possible time. In the past few months, he has been playing a very large number of different games and cannot get hooked on a game at all. The offer of more than 100 games on the Game Pass seems irresistible to him. Or does it? Well, to start, this person has an Xbox Live Gold subscription and is currently paying $10 every month because, let's be honest, many games are only worth playing in multiplayer mode. Let's consider a 2-year time frame. In that time, the inveterate player cannot play anything less than 10 games or else he's not satisfied. He starts by buying Call of Duty Infinite Warfare for almost $60. His evolution in the game is fast and only 2 months later the player already finished the game and lost interest. His hunger for gaming, however, is insatiable, and the person drops another $30 on the Rise of the Tomb Raider. He likes the gameplay, and the game has a slower pace than Call of Duty, and it takes him another 3 months to finish the game's story. He was satisfied, but he wants to mix things up a bit and decides to buy Overcooked 2 for another $25. The game is fun to play with his friends, but the repetitive gameplay makes him decide to buy another game the following month. He just entered the world of Forza 7 for $40. The sequence of incredible tracks and fast accelerating cars fascinated our player for a few weeks before he started to feel confined between walls, barriers, fences, tunnels, and even tires. It is then that he discovers that he can be free for almost $60 in a game called Forza Horizon 4. His life changes overnight. Now he feels the freedom of being able to navigate huge maps and with a variety of cars and activities unmatched by Forza Motorsport 7. So much so that he's even able to spend an extra month playing the game and evolving through the most diverse racing categories. Until one day, he discovers a game called Mud Runner. From then on, and $25 later, he came to believe that the real freedom was not to race around a map dodging trees all the time, but to take advantage of the realistic physics of terrain simulation and the challenges of wrestling a heavyweight truck through roads that well represent those of our country. But of course, nothing is enough for the insatiable gamer. He goes the next month, seeking the satisfaction of the freedom he had lost by being trapped inside the cages that were those trucks. He decides to allocate almost $40 to Sea of Thieves. In his words, very well spent money. Bringing a unique style, very different from everything he had ever played, he could almost feel the sea breeze from inside his room. Undoubtedly, it gave him months of battles and conquests, until one day, he was so used to the game physics that he could feel the ships like being solid ground. He no longer felt free. Then, 3 months later, they announced the biggest, the best aviation game ever released, Flight Simulator 2020, costing a huge $60, but that didn't matter. Freedom was just a few clicks away and it could finally be his. There was only one catch. What looked like a dream wasn't what he expected. Stuttering and lagging, even with the lowest graphics settings, it was an unpleasant experience trying to fly the most beautiful places in the world with texture errors and models generated often automatically. It was 6 long weeks of suffering until he decided to completely change the course of his gaming life and enjoy Age of Empires 3 for less than $20. The game was fun, but it didn't last more than a month in his hands. he wanted a deeper experience. Then he discovers Metro Exodus, a game that he manages to be excited to play and progress through the gameplay more and more, reaching the end of second year in 4 months of playing. Ultimately, this adventure in the world of games cost him a total of $400 just for the games alone. In addition, there were over $200 of live gold, totaling $640 in 2 years. It is right here that we all ask ourselves, would it be less expensive in that case to have joined Game Pass Ultimate? The answer, oddly enough, will need some meditations before it's given. First, we might think so, since the sum of the Game Pass Ultimate monthly fees for 2 years is around $350 and already includes Xbox Live Gold. You might think, $300 versus $600, there's nothing more to discuss. But there's a problem that we haven't considered yet. Some games that the die-hard player bought weren't on the Game Pass games list. And that naturally happens, but it is a big problem. After all, we did not discover that we want to play only the Game Pass games. We can find our next games anywhere, and often they are not included. Therefore, Call of Duty IW, Rise of the Tomb Raider, and Metro Exodus are not included in the Game Pass, which means that even if he signs up for it, he would have to pay another $130. So in the end, for him, it was not worth it to buy the games for $640. It would have been worth more to pay a bit over $470 through the subscription of Game Pass Ultimate. All the formulas that we have presented so far were to find out in how many months it would be more worth it buying the games than signing up for the Game Pass. But in this case, the period was determined, and what we didn't know was whether buying the 10 different games would be more worth it than paying the subscription or not. Thinking now, it is difficult to know when we'll no longer play a game. I myself stopped playing and then started again a lot of games after 1 or 2 months without playing them. You may have experienced this at some point, which is further confirmation that it is not 100% reliable to say how long we think we're gonna play a game. So, for that method to work, it is important that you're able to tell which games included in Game Pass you're gonna play, for how long, and when that time interval is over, cancel your subscription and move on. For my particular case, this subscription does not work, because I like the very limited number of games among those that are on the Game Pass, and of which 2 I have already purchased, which means for me, it is not worth joining the Game Pass. And maybe it is more advantageous for you not to sign up for the service and have the games forever, because after all, you will be able to open the game a few years later without paying anything extra and have a good nostalgic time. But there's one last formula that can change that answer because it has a different approach. Instead of having to guess how long you think it'll take you to get tired of a game, you choose a period, for example, 1 year, and it tells you how many games you need to want to play in that period to be worth signing up for the Game Pass. It is like this. You take the number of months in the time frame and subtract 1 because of the first free month. That results in 11 for 1 year. Then, multiply it by the monthly subscription fee chosen, for example, 10, and then divide by the cost of a game, for example, $60. The result says that you need to want to play at least 2 $60 games in a year to be worth signing up. Or, if you divide by 30 instead of 60, you need to want to play 4 games or more costing $30 each to be worth signing up. If you want, I can develop an app that calculates these formulas for you easily without you having to worry about the math. I can put it on my website, but I will only start to develop this page if you show that there's a good demand for it. To use it, you would just need to choose what you want to know, put the current values of the Game Pass prices and some other numbers specific to your case and click Calculate. The indicators would come out right away to assist you in your decision making. It would be a key tool for you to take control of your financial life. That way, you can get an idea of whether or not it is worth for you to sign up for the Game Pass. Using any of the formulas that we have shown and considering if some other benefits of the service will be useful for you, it is possible to make a financially conscious decision that will do good both for your routine as a player and for your pocket. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm leaving other videos here that you may like. How about taking a look? In my channel, I have been making videos on Forza, but I still do real projects, analysis, teach photography, give driving and even tuning tips.